Heading to Canada for retirement? Here's a quick breakdown of 401k, Roth 401k, 403b, and 457 plans, plus what changes when you move to Canada. 401ks have pre-tax contributions, grow tax deferred, and are taxed as ordinary income when withdrawn. Roth 401ks have after-tax deposits, growth and qualified withdrawals are tax-free. A lot of times employer contributions can only be made into the traditional 401k. 403bs are nearly identical to 401ks, but are offered by schools and nonprofits. Some also have a special 15-year catch-up feature. Under certain conditions, employees with 15 years or more of service to the same 403b provider can contribute up to $3,000 extra per year, up to a maximum of $15,000. 457 plans are offered by government employers and select nonprofits. They have a separate contribution limit, and there is no early withdrawal penalty once you leave the employer, but distributions are always taxable. Leaving a job? You can move a 401k, 403b, or 457 directly into a rollover IRA or a Roth 401k into a Roth IRA, tax-free if the transfer is direct or completed within 60 days. If you're moving to Canada for work with the same employer, sometimes they continue to have you work for the U.S. entity, sometimes you start receiving your pay from the Canadian company. If you switch to the Canadian entity, sometimes it is considered a severance of service, and you can roll your employer plan to your rollover IRA or Roth IRA. As a Canadian resident, U.S. plans withhold 15% on payouts under the tax treaty, unless you are a covered expatriate. As a Canadian resident, U.S. plans withhold 15% on distributions under the tax treaty, unless you are a covered expatriate. In that case, you can avoid the expatriation tax on these assets, but you will lose treaty benefits and will have a 30% withholding when you distribute. Canada also taxes those distributions, but you receive a credit for the U.S. tax paid. Those foreign tax credits are converted to Canadian dollars and are more effective at offsetting tax due when the Canadian dollar is relatively weak. Roth withdrawals stay tax-free in both countries if the account was funded before you became a Canadian resident. Complete your rollovers while you are still a U.S. resident to simplify things. Non-resident aliens should file a Form W-8-BEN with the custodian once they arrive in Canada. U.S. citizens in Canada should file a Form W-9. Weigh Roth contributions and Roth conversions if your future Canadian tax rate will be higher than your U.S. tax rate before you leave. Need a cross-border retirement game plan? 49th Parallel Wealth Management simplifies rollovers, tax credits, and investment strategies, so your money moves as smoothly as you do.